Come all you loyal heroes, wherever that you be, don't hide for any master till you know what your work will be. For you must rise up early from clear daylight till dawn. I'm afraid you'll never be able to plough the rocks upon.
I've just had it in my head to go, and 'twas do or die. I was out in a world of my own, and I had to make the most of it. So, it wasn't as nice as I thought it would be. I thought you had nothing to do when you come to England and pick up a job straight away. Well, I spent 2 or 3 days walking around before I did get a job. And I didn't get a job on my own. A lad that was staying in digs next door, he heard about, well, myself and this other bloke looking for work, so he said that he probably would be able to get us to start with Murphy. And, well, Murphy is known the 4 corners of the earth. So we went to Camden Town, got on the back of one of the old trucks from Quicks Road and hit for Camden Town. So we went up and he asked one of the bosses there, could we any chance of the start? So he looked you up and down to see if you'd, well, if you were able to take a man's place. But you wouldn't want to be dressed. You wouldn't want to have a collar and tie on you. Otherwise you could hit back again. So, I'll admit it was tough. It was tough, but when you have it in mind, like, well, I mean, the only one thing you have in mind is money, like. Well, you have more or less to put all you have into a thing.
Hey? I'll go and tell Pat that Jerry's coming up with the dumper.
Oh, they say travel broadens the mind. I was just thinking there, if Irishmen worked as hard back home in their own country as they work when they go abroad, I think Ireland would be another Western Germany.
But there's no work at home. There might be for just 1 or 2 or some man living in a city or something like that, but any man that's living in the country, for myself now personally speaking, there's about 4 months work every year for me back yonder. After that, I'm finished, a man with 4 kids. And I'm lucky if I get about 4 months putting of turf on the bank.
I am a roving sport and blade, they call me Jack of all trades. I always place me chief delight in courting pretty fair maids. When I left me native land to try for a situation, I always heard them say I was the pride of all the nation. I'm a roving Jack of all trades, of every trade and all trades. And if you want to know my name, they call me Jack of all trades. Well, first to Scotland I did go, working at spud lifting. In Cumbernauld I changed me job to working at muck shifting. A railway porter next I was, and then an engine cleaner, until I left the smoke and headed north for places greener. I'm a roving Jack of all trades, of every trade and all trades. And if you want to know my name, they call me Jack of all trades. I worked on dams and hydro schemes and bored a pick and shovel. I drove a big bulldozer shifting rock and muck and rubble. I headed south for Camden Town and there a hod I carried. At Harlow drove a dumper truck, at Seven Oaks I tarried. I'm a roving Jack of all trades, of every trade and all trades. And if you want to know my name, they call me Jack of all trades. On the bypass there at Doncaster. I worked at building bridges at Kinlochleave and built a dam while battling with the midges. For the bridge of Fort I sunk the piles, I poured cement at Dover. I laid blacktop at Gunnersbury for the new flyover. I'm a roving jack of all trades, of every trade and all trades, and if you want to know my name, they call me Jack of all trades.
Bring your back.
Oh, I come from the west of Ireland and I come across to Scotland when I was 14 and a half years of age. I worked on the hydroelectric scheme there until I was turning 20, and I come up here then to England, and first place I landed was Peterborough on a power station. I went on from there to Auchenbury Airfield, which was a 7 million contract there. We were there for 4.5 years. We went on from there to the Preston bypass, complete that and come back up to the M1. We finished on the M1 and went on to Ross Bowl, complete that, and we shifted on to the M6. And from that on to an airfield in Scotland again. We complete in Scotland, and I was working on the M1 since that. I'm on the M1 back here again, which is 65.
He's a nomad in the sense that the industry likes to think of him that way. The trend today of every industry to accept that it has an obligation to give a man work near a home, near his actual home. Our industry tries this as far as it can. Regionalisation, as we call it, with practice. But in fact, of course, because of a man's particular skill in one job or another, you are obliged to say to him, finish this job and then go to another job, and this means changing home. Well, of course, this nomadic character in an Irishman, as we've just described it, this is an asset. We aren't posed the problem. How do you accommodate a man's wife? How do you accommodate his children? He's nomadic in that sense, but I think his home is essentially Ireland. He always remembers this.
I think by very virtue of so many having to leave, there's a more intense longing to be here. But on the other hand, there's a feeling that there's something wrong with you if you haven't got out. The suction out of Ireland is tremendous, because everyone has cousins, uncles, so that they don't get to 15 years before they're having letters home, and all the ancient fantasies of Tiernan and Og and of a magic land across the horizon are all built into this 20th century picture of life being something better. But the generation who are back still have this, and even when they're back a while, it begins to come to start operating again, you know, that you're somehow failing, you're not fully alive if you haven't got out.
To drink and fight, that's just the image we've got, and women last, of course, but you know, one time, no, I don't think we're fighters. Like, we can look after ourselves. We have got to, because I suppose we left home that young and kind of work for a living, like, you know, we're dependent on nobody. So we had to fight to exist.
Well, the first time ever I landed in England, England was the saddest and the loneliest country ever an Irishman could ever put his foot in it. Very sorry to have to say about it now, because some of the English people have come around to understand the Irish way and everything like that. But when I landed in England, my God, every one of them, not the majority or the minority, every one of them took the rise out of you. An Englishman will tell you straight, where did you go, Paddy? You ran home when the war started. But there's lots of things that I want English people to understand. That I've got a brother with a leg and an arm that fought for this country. And my father fought from 1914 to 1918. And I've got 2 uncles killed at Dunkirk. And my brother is at home now with 10 guineas a week, a British Army pension. And his sons were forced to leave Ireland and they're all over here working. Every one of them is forced. And I blame the Irish government for forcing them over. Because if there was enough work in Ireland, there's none of us would have to come over here. But I'll ask you one thing. Go down to Camden Town in the morning. Go to the Brecknock in the morning. Go to the Nag's Head just here on the Seven Sisters Road. Go up to the Archway and ask me who is jumping on the wagons, who is doing the work in this country. They're all Irishmen. Every one of them. They're Irish contractors and they're Irish labour. Who built the road at the Nag's Head? John Murphy, a man from Dingle in the County Kerry. That was the man that put it through there with Irish labour. And I've heard Englishmen to say, and English women, my God, are they not savage? When they used to see the lads with their vest off, not on them with just the trousers. But them lads couldn't help it. They were working hard. And there was a time here, which I wanted to say, and I will say it, that it was wrote up on the boards, no Irish need apply. And you left Ireland. You were forced with your own country people. You had to leave Ireland because we were big families, there was nothing in it. It was poor, it's destitute. Sorry to have to say that it's destitute. It's the best country in the world. And they're the greatest people in the world. There's no doubt about it. I mean to say, they've proved themselves the best people in the world. They went to the States, they've made good. They went to France, they've made good. But they won't make good in England. Because from the time they start in England, they're not wanted.
Well, the Irish might talk a lot more about how good they are, but in fact it's all based on a very strong sense of inferiority. He's ready to take offence at a moment's notice. Therefore he'll hit back where someone doesn't even mean an insult. Whereas the Englishman has a true superiority complex. He doesn't even have to defend himself. He's so sure that he is better. I mean, it wasn't just the famine. The fact that you couldn't be anything or anybody, the minute you put your head above water, then for that very reason somebody would slap you down. If you built a new door in your house, your rent went up. So you had to make everything as dismal, as bad as possible to exist.
My shoes they are well worn now, my stockings they are thin, my heart is always trembling, I'm afraid I might give in. My heart is always trembling, from clear daylight till dawn, and I'm afraid I'll never be able to plough the rocks of all.
I had 4 brothers. One of them is in England, one of them is in Canada, one of them is in New York, and the other got drowned. At the time of the First World War, there was big boats around here. They used to call them nobbies. They used to be 6 men, 7 men in each boat. But one morning, this boat was blown up by a German submarine, I believe. And they were all lost. 7 men.
Being young in the West, you always have the feeling, why should I stay? Where'll I go? Can I go on staying here? What's it to be? England or America? So they say to you, things say to you, there's nothing here. There's no money here. America's the place where the money is. And England. Why not get out? Get out now. Before you're too old.
What's the can't how much we'll make it for tomorrow? Gosh, by the more. My tea and an ounce.
Aye, tea, town.
Some going well. Good versions.
Need to in your mind on up on post, more than us in Hampshire.
What do you?
I know Scotland with all the
Ní mórm san neartrána bhááil mar sin agus chuir de bhréití ha an ná.
Can I go on staying here? What's it to be? England or America?
The first thing that struck me was the darkness of the place and the wide open spaces. Where were all the cows? And there was nothing in sight. All I could see was buildings and tracks. All the tracks, where were they all leading to?
It was just daybreak when we got into Manchester. Everything was black. Even though the day was coming out, as though it didn't want to, as though Manchester wasn't entitled to daylight. This is the impression I got.
I am a young fellow that's very well known. I have travelled through Galway in the county Tyrone, till in desperation I borrowed a fare, and goodbye to old Ireland, said a rambler from Clare.
I came to England just over 30 years ago, in the times when you had 2 million unemployed, very hard to get a job. And having got that job, you had to struggle very, very hard to keep it, as the common practice was at that time. Labourers, probably as good and maybe better than you, continually sat round the edges of the works to see that somebody would probably get sacked through the day and to go in and take your place.
You'd nearly cry in Camden Town every morning in the week to see the finest young Irish lads from 18 years of age to 50, leaping and jumping upon Murphy's wagons, Lowry's wagons, R.S. Kennedy's wagons. If you haven't got nail boots and are well mucked and your trousers well dirty, you're not wanted. And they grade you in like cattle. And I mean to say, if you look at it, there must be something wrong with Ireland.
And they don't care what conditions to work under. The young ones, you wouldn't get the old ones to do it. There's no old navvies upon Murphy's or any of them, because them old men wouldn't have it. In all the conditions, and they did suffer under some horrible conditions. But the old man will tell you today, it's 1965, it's time to get civilised.
I said, never mind these people at all, get up moving and we get that ballast stuff. We're waiting for ballast to start making the concrete.
You can't just turn off the labour just like that today. You get a good crew of key men together, you can't afford to stop. You let good key men go today, it's an impossible task to replace them.
Dynamos all right. Bloody belts, schools. Are they down in the side? Tell us that, is all right?
It's difficult to get good machine operators, it's difficult to get good timbermen, it's difficult to get good joiners, it's difficult to get good batching plant operators, it's difficult to get near enough all the men that I have got here. This contract has nearly been running a year. It has taken us until now to get all these good lads together.
I made for Argyle where I dug a big hole. It was half a mile deep and I felt like a mole. It held 10 million gallons of water, I swear, and the most of it sweat from the Rambler from Clare.
I'm a good worker. I like to work. I don't believe in sitting about like and looking at the sunshine, and I like to work. I like to make money if I can. And I can make it here, so I stay here.
Yes, that's better.
That'll do.
Right, lads, pick, shovel and fork. You start to dig. Well, you must be as good a man as the men that's in front of you. When you're in a trench like that, you don't know, you cannot time the man that's in front of you, or the man that's in front of you can't time the man that's behind you. And the best horse jumps the ditch.
I mean to say, when the old man was at it, he had to be at it, because there was 10 and 12 men looking for the one job. But today there's jobs for everyone, isn't there?
The next job I worked on was digging a drain. I moved up the trench like a big diesel train. They laid up the rest of the gang then, and therefore the equal of 10 was the Rambler from Clare.
It comes easy when you know how to do it. That's the same as the bloke that goes into the office and sits down writing a pen. He tells you in the evening he's tired. He's had a hard day at the office. Well, I could have a hard day with a pick and shovel. It's as simple as that, isn't it?
They'll tell you my equal was ne'er to be seen. They call me the horse and the digging machine. The ganger man loved me, the agents would stare, all admiring the strength of the Rambler from Clare.
I seen him coming home with his trousers just like a starched tablecloth from wet and being frozen up.
But now I am bent and me fire's turned cold. In another 4 years I'll be 50 years old. I'm worn out and finished, but what do they care? For they've had all they want of the Rambler from Clare.
They're finished for life. Jim Healy's going around with one lung and Johnny Munley's dead. And there's lots of more. There's thousands of more.
The top men on them, the man driving the 22 or the cat or the 21, you know, the box and scraper, they're the men who won the money. They're the men who's on the 1450, all the machine men, the saw machines. I mean, they even spread the concrete, these big German machines, Yankee machines, everything, the cats and the scrapers.
I wish the Queen us and for the meantime, and place me in the regiment, all in my youth and prime. I would fight for Ireland's glory, from clear daylight till dawn. But I never would return again to plough the rocks above.
Subject. What is the means of calculating what our order is going to be for the next week? I sorted it out in here, Ken, David and I. We did a calculation this morning. In other words, we summated the pause, we worked it out, we said, well, let's work towards half-empty storage at the end of the next week. We're optimists. Let's not try and take something to fill the bins again the next Saturday, because this is a frightful risk. It means you've got to do everything you set out to do and a bit more.
I joined the Pincher kiddies and I worked for Lang and Wimpy. The hours were long, the digs were poor and the food was always skimpy. At the Dungeness atomic plant I worked at steel erecting. crawling like a human fly and always that expecting.
I'm a roving jack of all trades, of every trade and all trades, and if you want to know me name, they call me Jack of all trades.
Sport and blade, they call me Jack of all trades. I always place me chief delight in courting pretty fair maids. But I must pad the English roads and distant places I go, and I must work at this and that far from me native Sligo.
I'm a roving Jack of all trades, of every trade and all trades, and if you want to know me name, they call me Jack of all trades.
Hares run free on the Wicklow mountains, wild geese fly and the foxes play. Sport and Wicklow boys are working, driving the tunnel through the London clay. Lochs, trout grow fat and lazy, salmon sport in Cushla Bay. Fishermen of Connemara drive a tunnel through the London clay.
Up with the shield and jacket, ram it, drive a tunnel through London clay.
Below Armagh the wild ducks breed and wildfowl gather on Loch Ray. Sporting boys of Longford County are digging the tunnel through the London clay.
Up with the shield and jacket, ram it, drive a tunnel through London clay.
The Curra rots on Achill Island, tourists walk on the Newport Quay. The Mayo boys have all gone roving, digging the tunnel through the London clay.
Up with the shield and jacket, ram it, drive a tunnel through London clay.
Down in the dark are the tunnel tigers, far from the sun in the light of day. Down in the land that the sea once buried, driving the tunnel through the London clay.
Up with the shield and jacket, ram it, drive a tunnel through London clay.
Round back.
Good. 644.
Yes, for it.
You're showing the mic.
And down the glen rode MacAlpine's men with their shovels slung behind them. In the pub they drank the sub, and up in Camden town you'll find them. They've sweated blood and they've washed down muds with pints and quarts of beer. And now we're on the road again with MacAlpine's Fusiliers. I've worked till the sweat nearly had me bet with Russian, Czech and Pole, on hydro dams and on shutter and jams, and way below the Thames in the hole. I've grafted hard and I've had me cards, and many's the ganger's fist around me ear. And if you pride your life, don't join by Christ with MacAlpine's Fusiliers.
I mean, over here you have got a concentration of work, although the standard of living you might find is pretty similar in Ireland.
Yeah.
And there may be jobs available, but at the same time they're not as convenient to get to, and there's not as many to choose from.
When an Irishman comes over into this country first,
yeah,
he comes over, he more or less, he comes over, he knows more or less where he's going.
Yeah.
Because He doesn't come over.
Does he have his job arranged before he comes over? Does he just come over?
It's possible. He doesn't.
Possibly,
yes, it's
yeah.
possible. Yeah.
Possible they do
He
have
comes
it,
o-
but through his
it's probably his father's over here before he comes over.
Or if he's got
His brother. He's working in a certain town.
relations.
There's certain work in that certain town.
There's always connections.
Right?
Yeah, he's got a connection.
Yeah. But that could only last for 18 months or 2 years.
Yeah.
But you're not going to stay in that town when that job is finished. You go somewhere, you travel on, you go on and on and on. Then as the years pass, you're going to settle down and get married. But could be in anywhere, Manchester, London, Birmingham, or Glasgow, anywhere. So wherever you settle down, that's where the work, and that's where you stay.
And you settle over there, you buy a house.
It all depends where you get married, and just where you have your family. Then you settle down, and you take what work comes up in that area, in the particular area you're in.
If a person's willing to work, he'll find a job in no time, even if it's only a low paid job. But if he puts himself out for a couple of weeks at a low paid job until he can find himself a better job, until he can keep on pushing himself until he finds better for himself. But if a person just stays in one job and he don't move again, it's just something in him that he's frightened to move. You can't be frightened to move, you're going out to earn money.
Just about over 21 yards out. Once we stop.
And you must remember that this is to all Irish people a foreign country. English people don't seem to realise that. After all, there was a long and tedious war fought over a long number of years to prove just that point. It really is a foreign country to Irish people. They speak the same language nominally, but they speak it completely differently. They think differently, and they have different social customs and different conventions. And to most Irishmen coming over here, it's quite an adventure.
When they're at home, they're working in little small circles. Their parents are there always. Everybody knows them. It's a small country, everybody knows everybody else, and they can't put their foot out of step. And they have to obey all these social conventions and all the rest of it. When they're over here, their father and mother aren't here, they can do what they bloomin' like, more or less. Nobody can say a word to them. If they go out and get too drunk, nobody will say a word to them. They live in digs mostly, so they go out. Wherever they go, they have to go to the pub. They can't go anywhere else. And it's a deadly life. They have no home life whatever. But at the same time, they're so free, you see. There's nobody to say a word to them.
Come all you heroes, wherever that be, don't hide for any master till you know what your work will be. For you must rise up early from clear daylight till dawn. I'm afraid you'll never be able to plough the rocks upon.